Okay, so it's been very, very helpful for a lot of people. The card that came up for you out of Stephen Farmer's deck is Forest. It's a beautiful card. It's Breathe. Take a look at that card. Very, very calming. And I'm going to read to you out of his book what he's saying about this particular card as I put on my red glasses. All right. So what it's saying here is, as we make our way across the meadow to the thicker parts of the forest, there's a subtle shift in the sensations in the body, one that might initially be barely perceptible, but soon becomes undeniable. It's nearly impossible not to take deep breaths. You know how when you're in a forest or you're among nature, you automatically. The richness of the forest's oxygen gives freely and generously from the trees. So what it's saying here, and his message to you is, your breathing is too shallow. Although it may feel natural, it is an unhealthy habit that causes shortness of breath. So when you subconsciously shorten your breath, no matter if this is habitual or triggered by an event, like something at work or something at home, it activates certain psychological signals that prepare your system for fight or flight. Another conditioned response to perceived danger is to hold your breath. Well, you don't want to do that. So breathe, exclamation point is what it says. Inhale deeply. Regardless of your concerns, worries, or problems, then let it go. Next, allow yourself to breathe a little deeper and a few times and a little bit slower. Remember that every breath you inhale is a gift and every breath you exhale is a gift. So the forest is a clear reminder of breathing deep. And I also have this under this aquamarine crystal. I decided to put this on here, and if this is breathing deep, is actually in our lungs, but we exhale and it feels like it comes through our throat, and this is a throat chakra. So you'll be able to better communicate your ideas, and it activates that throat chakra. Okay, yay, Aries. So that feels like it's an overview of the month. Deep breathing. Let yourself. Okay, I'm going to pull 4 cards from John Holland Psychic Tarot deck, and they're wanting to come out for you guys. Okay, so that's 4. Okay, all right. So let's turn over the first one. And okay, so this is the first one, and it's number 1 of the spirit cards. And the spirit cards have to do with our aspirations and our inspirations, our spiritual force. She has a very satisfied look on her face, right? It's a burning passion inside. So, I would, if I were you, make a short list even. It doesn't feel like a long one, because it feels like 2 or 3 things that make you so passionate of what you love to do. Is because I'm getting there are some people that really, you could use this. You could use the value that it gives to other people, and you could use the realization of what you do, how important you are to others, and your gifts and talents. And it feels like by doing that, there is some passion ignited. There is some excitement. There's some growing your crops kind of thing. It's almost like, you plant the seeds, but then when you realize that you see the seedling coming up and the plant coming up from the seed, you start to see how you affect other people. Your gifts and your talents affect other people. And that feels to me a lot about what this is saying. When I look at the card, because I do intuitively and straight on, is I'm seeing this particular sleeve and the folds in the sleeve. And it feels like that, it feels like there are some things to unfold. It feels like a lot of you that, maybe you have been holding your breath, like waiting for things to happen. And it feels like to take that deep breath, and because things are going to start to unfold. When I see folds in shirts, it's like, let them unfold naturally. Let them unfold easily. Be patient. Be calm about it. The universe is naturally going to work for you. So whatever you've been working on, and I'm hearing, for some of you, this is interesting for you, Aries, because I'm hearing your fire sign, but I'm hearing computer works. Computer work. So you could either be something you're doing on the computer that is, and then I'm hearing gifts. So I don't know let's see, some things you're doing on the computer that is involved in your work, something you like to do on the computer, some information you're getting on the computer, but you're receiving some really good information from that. Okay, so that's passion ignited. It could also be about a romance. It could also be that you're in a romantic situation and you just feeling really good about the beginning of the month. Okay, so the next card on your 4-card spread is Sacrifice. Okay, so this is a Major Arcana card, and it's Major Arcana card of themes that are playing out in our life. This is the second week, basically the second week in November. So, while you sacrifice, well, it feels like that you're gaining as well, because anything that you're letting go of that doesn't serve your highest purpose, as you can see, she's pointing towards clouds that look like flowers. She's pointing towards the rainbow. So it's like giving up but getting more. Giving up, getting more spiritually, more physically, more money is actually what I'm hearing. And so how could you give up to get more money? I do feel like some of you have been very, very busy doing maybe some additional things that maybe you could kind of like let go of if they're not making money, or if they're not making you happy, or if they're taking too much of your time, to let go of some of these things as much as you can, and you will receive more out of that. You will receive actually more abundance from what you're putting your time into that is growing and evolving for you. This could also be in a relationship. It could also be that, in a different way, sacrificing some of your time of what you're working. It feels like maybe really define your work, because it's the value to yourself to really define it, and a value to those that are around you, romantic partners, friends, that sort of thing. So to have some downtime, take a walk through the forest, breathe, okay, with this particular month, it would do you a lot of good. Okay, so your third card of this 4-card spread, Aries, is a mental card. And this is the first one of the mental card. And this is called Triumphant Success. I was thinking victory and success. Well, that's triumphant success. So you have the number 1 spirit card and the number 1 mental. And the mental cards have to do with our thoughts, our ideas, our perceptions. And so it's talking about feeling and thinking very successful. Again, here we go. You started with this take a slow, deep breaths, kind of slow down kind of thing. And it's continued through the reading of, the last card was Sacrifice. Maybe give up so much time you've been putting into projects, help you to relax. And then mentally, I feel like you're going to feel like, okay, all right, this feels better. You're going to feel more successful in a thinking kind of way. Okay, I'm also seeing a book. Maybe some of you, if you're reading and, taking some downtime on that, again, I'm seeing you read, whether it's a book or it's on the computer or an ebook. You're learning some new things. You're learning some new things this month. And as you can see, his hand is coming out of the ground. It's like, yay, triumphant success. And it feels like this has been a long period of just needing to get your house in order, to get some things in order. It also feels like if any of you are dealing with the courts this month, that there's some triumphant success. Don't you love it? This is the number 1. Just be prepared. Just feel that third chakra feeling of power, your own self-power, and I can do it, because I feel like there are going to be some of you that do have either, it could be as little as a traffic fine or something like that, but it does feel like it has something to do with cords. When I take a look at this card, what I'm seeing is the white right to this side of the sword. Okay, so it's like he's cutting the air with this sword. And this is a mental card. This has to do with either an Libra, an Aquarius, and the other air sign, Gemini. You know, this happened to me the other day too when I was doing a video. Gemini, and my moon is Gemini, which is very funny that I would, because I'm 2 air signs and water. So, if your rising or moon is a Gemini, or if you know of anyone that, you know, you're in close with a Gemini, then pay special attention to them or to how they're acting or behaving or whatever, because it's interesting. I left that out. This does have to do with an air sign. Maybe your rising or moon is there. So it feels triumphant success. I feel in the courts. You know, again, this is a general reading, but I do feel good about that. Okay. All right. So the last card of your 4-card spread. Don't you love the variety of these cards? You gotta love this. Okay. So this is an emotion card, and this has to do with, it's a water sign, which could be Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. So it says emotional loss, but if you look at the card, he's holding his hand over his heart, and the heart is healing. So a lot of stuff comes up for me for you for this. This is definitely, I mean, as you would think, it could be romance, or it could be a loved one that, you know, or a pet that unfortunately you've lost, but now could be in puppy heaven or dog heaven. It could be, it feels like, because I'm feeling a heaviness over my chest, but your heart is healing on this. And this too is at the end of the month. This is near Thanksgiving time. So if any of you, you know, are spending the holiday with family, and you know they're leaving and it's a hard goodbye, and or you're not spending it with someone that you've spent before, or you would like to spend it with someone and you're not doing it this year, just acknowledge yourself for what it is you have and what it is you want, and you know, hopefully another time. When I look at this card, I'm looking at this kind of looks like a shell around him. So it feels like to me that it feels like time will heal all wounds. This to me feels like a time or a decade or a date or a month. You just kind of mark it off your calendar. Again, think about it, any water signs you're connected with or emotionally, and or if you're a moon sign or rising, check that out and let me know. Put it in the comments below. I would love to hear. Okay, my fellow friends, well, you got a very, very varied and interesting reading. Make sure you breathe and really be loving and passionate with yourself and with others and whatever projects you have going on, because there's a sacrifice to that, but it's the better for you, because you're going to feel triumphant and think triumphant and let go of anything that doesn't serve your highest good.